G'day, back again. This is part 4 of an Australian poet series. Now, this poem, it's a comedial poem about the Aussie history of our convicts. Now, it's to be taken with a grain of salt, and basically here it goes. It's called A Beer at the Toecutter Bar. On our sunburnt country of our land, of the loud, proud and the free, and our history of convict bushrangers, the ways of the old country. We are still proud of Australia, yes, we still know who we are. So here's a day in modern history, a story about the Toecutter Bar. When Chopper Read was sitting on a stool, telling stories to a lively looking crew, when Brendan Abbott asked the barmaid where to get a T-bone or two, Chop Chop looked over and said, "You've done pretty bloody well for yourself. I'm just a good bloke down to my luck, but I'm feeling in pretty good health." Abbott raised his glass and gave a wink and said, "Here's cheers, big ears. We'll reminisce about old times and I'll even shout all of the beers." As Australia's once most wanted men put some coins in the Care for Kids jar, Reckless by James Rain played in the jukebox at the Toecutter Bar. In another corner of the pub sat some old acquaintances around a table, the Dodger Rogerson and Nettie Smith, who was shaky and unstable. Well, Nettie was asking the Dodger if he could help him fix up a blue, and the Dodger said, "Get another beer and I'll see what I can do." Well, Nettie was asking, "Sure, mate," who swore that his word was Ridgy Didge, as he apologised for the money owed. It was now water under the bridge. Now a scene was set with the cricket on a TV in the corner of the hotel. Mark Waugh was batting to save his country, and he was doing bloody well. When the door opened and a savage-looking crew nearly took this story too far, as they waltzed in like they owned the place at the infamous Toecutter Bar. It was Appo Henry and Renikill Flannery, all puffed up and bluffing, as they looked at Chopper and screamed out loud, "Your mate Jimmy Luffman." But it was bluff as laughter followed and hysterics all around, because even the postcard bandit has dropped his Akuba on the ground. He yelled, "G'day Nola, what would you ladies like to drink? My real name is Peter Holden," as they gave the barmaid a wink. Even Ned Kelly was back from the grave, with the wife he'd stolen from Clyde, arm in arm with Bonnie, living the dream, wearing boots of buffalo hide. He was comparing guns with Chopper Read as he introduced his wife. When the postcard bandit asked him about the hanging, Kelly replied, "Such is life." Well, as happy hour came and passed, the crowd had flocked in size, and it gets hot and sweaty in an outback pub as the room buzzed with flies. And the Dodger was getting rotten drunk and he started to rant about society. When he said again to Nettie Smith, "Remember that you work for me." But Ned Kelly heard the line and he raised his gun to the Dodger's head and he mentioned something about respect and threatened to shoot him dead. Then Renikill Flannery started to chew on his empty pot glass and Chopper said, "You bloody cripple, sit back down on your ass." The scene had changed until Appo Henry picked up the Care for Kids jar and said, "Boys, remember the name," as the riff settled at the Toecutter Bar. Now a pact was made to keep the truth from getting in the way of a good story. As the postcard band started singing Jingle Bells back in all of his glory, it was beers all around again and stories told of the old wounds and scar. Personalities mingled as last drinks were called, while the history glowed at the Toecutter Bar. And the sun was setting at the Southern Cross as the history glowed some more. Now we're telling stories way back from when Captain Cook first came to the shore. And personalities were mingling and they were getting on, and the history it just glowed. While chairs were being stacked on tables, it was just one more for the road. For freedom is like a beautiful memory, and it shines like a clear water stream. And one thing that will never change, it will always be free to dream. In a sunburnt country where all the people, they are still who they are. What a day it would have been to have a beer at the Toecutter Bar.